Hey everyone, welcome back. So, there's been another major twist in the food stamp situation. And honestly, this one caught a lot of people off guard just days after states were told they could issue full SNAP benefits for November. The Trump administration has now reversed course and told them to stop. Late Saturday night, the USDA sent an emergency memo ordering states to immediately undo any full payments that had already gone out. And for millions of families already struggling with this shutdown, that's only added more confusion and worry. If you saw the last update, you know that some states like Oregon, New York, and Wisconsin had already started sending full benefits after a federal court said the government had to pay. But now, after the Supreme Court stepped in and temporarily paused that order, the USDA is saying those payments weren't authorized. They're telling states to roll them back or risk losing their federal funding. And that's where things get messy because some of those payments have already hit people's cards. So, yeah, this new development has left a lot of people asking, can the government actually take those benefits back? And what happens to families who already spent them? Before we get into what all this means, if you find updates like these helpful, make sure to subscribe. That way you won't miss when I post the next one because things are changing fast. Now, here's what actually happened. The USDA memo came right after the Supreme Court issued what's called an administrative stay. That means the court basically hit pause on the lower court ruling that forced the government to pay full benefits. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson signed that order Friday night, which gave the administration time to argue its case while everything gets sorted out in appeals court. And right after that ruling, the USDA told states that only 65% of the monthly benefits could be legally supported right now. That's the partial amount they've been using as a placeholder during the shutdown. They also warned that states who ignore the order could lose their administrative funding or be forced to pay back overissued funds out of their own budgets. Now, let's be honest here. This is a huge reversal. Less than a day earlier, states were told to go ahead and release full benefits. Governors and agencies spent all Friday trying to process those payments. And then by Saturday night, the federal government said, undo it. That's created absolute chaos for state offices, grocery stores, and the families caught in the middle. And here's where it gets even more complicated. Legal experts are already questioning whether the government can even claw back benefits once they've been issued. According to one law professor, it's not legal to just undo a SNAP payment without due process. He said, this memo looks more like an intimidation tactic to stop states that were halfway through the process from finishing their payments, but that hasn't stopped the administration from trying to enforce it. Patrick Penn from the USDA wrote in the memo, to the extent states sent full payment files for November, this was unauthorized and he ordered them to stop immediately. Now, that's led to some strong reactions from state leaders. Wisconsin's Governor Tony Evers flat out said no. He's refusing to comply with the order and told the press, our administration is actively in court fighting against the Trump administration's efforts to yank food assistance away from Wisconsin's kids, families, and seniors. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey said the same thing. She told residents to keep using their benefits and warned the USDA that they'll see the president in court if they try to penalize the state. So, what's the reasoning behind all this? Well, the Trump administration says it's about fiscal responsibility. They're arguing that SNAP can't be fully funded during a shutdown without Congress passing a budget. A USDA spokesperson actually said the well has run dry, putting the blame on congressional Democrats for refusing to approve the administration's broader spending bill. Now, supporters of the administration say this isn't cruelty, it's caution. They argue that the government has limited funds and can't risk running out completely if the shutdown drags on. But critics say the timing and tone of the memo tell a different story. Senator Amy Klobuchar called the move cruelty is policy, while others say it's an unnecessary political fight being waged at the expense of hungry families. And it's not hard to see why people feel that way. For many families, SNAP isn't supplemental, it's essential. We're talking about 42 million Americans who depend on these benefits to buy food every single month. Seniors, veterans, working parents, they all plan their meals around what's loaded on those EBT cards. So, when the USDA tells states to undo benefits, it doesn't just create confusion, it creates fear. And this fear has a ripple effect. Food banks across the country are already seeing higher demand, especially in cities like Miami, New York, and Philadelphia. Grocery stores are reporting transaction delays. Some state offices have even said their EBT systems could get disrupted because they don't know what files they're allowed to process anymore. The USDA has changed its instructions to states almost daily over the past week. One day saying send full payments, the next saying hold partials, and now undo fulls. It's been total whiplash for state agencies trying to follow the rules. In fact, one filing in Massachusetts described the USDA's communication as incoherent and unprecedented. This kind of back and forth isn't just an administrative issue, it's a human one. Each of these decisions affects real people's grocery trips, their kids' meals, and their budgets for the month. And even though states are fighting back, they're now being told they could lose federal support for disobeying. That puts them in a nearly impossible position. Follow the court's earlier order to pay people fully, or follow the USDA's latest memo and risk cutting off aid that people already spent. From a legal standpoint, this whole battle could end up redefining what states are allowed to do in emergencies like this. If the court side with the Trump administration, it could give the federal government more control over how welfare programs are handled during shutdowns. But if states win, it would affirm that governors have the authority to protect their residents when Washington gets gridlocked. And either way, the outcome will have lasting consequences because this isn't just about November payments. It's about what happens next month and what precedent gets set for programs like SNAP, Medicaid, and other safety nets in the future. And we'll keep following this closely because this situation is still evolving. The appeals court could make a decision soon, and that will determine whether states can resume full payments or have to stick with partial ones. But either way, this latest memo is one of the clearest signs yet that America's safety net is being tested, not just by money, but by politics. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll keep you posted as new developments come out. And if you haven't already, take a second to share this update or leave a comment below about what's happening in your state. I know many of you have been tracking your benefits closely, and your experiences really help others understand what's going on across the country. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Just pausing for a moment to share something important with you. We've partnered with Chapter, a service we feel confident recommending for clear, honest Medicare help. They'll connect you with a licensed advisor, compare every Medicare plan in your area, and help you save money. Most people save around $1,100 a year. It's free, and their care advocate team is there to support you even after you're signed up. Call 615-639-1937 or visit askchapter.org/money using the link in the comments below. Let's get going.